This poem is called Family Secrets. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. I've written and poured my heart onto sheets of paper a million times, but I cannot look at them anymore. They remind me of those cotton sheets and that cold white tiled floor. I try to forget about it most times, but each time a cold breeze caresses my skin, I always fail to breathe. Xanny, what is wrong? I try to explain, but I trip over my tongue. My throat knots up as memories flood in. It's that bloody cold floor, that blood-red sticky floor, that scruffy whisper and ragged voice that pierced deeper than any knife ever could. I never knew that the devil smiled so confidently while his prey trembled in fear and anger. Uncle, what are you doing here? Shh. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. These four walls don't feel safe anymore. These nightmares aren't just dreams anymore. Sweaty nights and salty pillows. I cannot stay here anymore. Mama, I still see him in here. My body refused to move. Mama, my voice fails me. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. Go out with your friends for ice cream. I love ice cream, but that darn chocolate ice cream reminds me of his skin. The vending machine makes the same sound of shredding clothes each time his greedy hands manage to grab me, or the cold knife grazing at me over and over again. Hush, all I hear are my screams, my muffled screams. I cannot breathe. Hush. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. Mama, there's a man who loves me with his hands. Papa, there's a man who adores me on his lap. stranger danger? No. The danger is in our homes. It is such an extreme sport. Walking around with a vagina, that is. Xanny. Just your regular poet, and in the world of poetry, she means a source of safety, as I feel in the world we do not have a lot of safety, and so poetry is my way of feeling safe and being able to express myself, and also being a safe enough space for others to express themselves as well.
And what is your subject matter about in your poetry? What do you mainly speak about?
So my subject matter is most of the time about romance. I'm hopeless romantic. But I do speak about anything at all, as I feel I'm empathic enough to place myself at times in certain situations that I've not ever even been in, but can imagine how certain life situations can be for other people, and so that allows me to speak about anything at all, even though mainly I do speak about romance. Yeah.
And when did you realize your love for poetry?
So my love for poetry started when I was in grade 5 actually. I still remember the first poem I fell in love with. It was called Why Should I Wash Behind My Ears? It was a very simple kiddies poem, but after that I just fell in love with rhyming, and the more I progressed with poetry, of course there were years whereby I was not writing poetry, but the more I got exposed to poetry, I saw the different ways in which you can use poetry and not just rhyming, and I fell in love with using metaphors as a way to express myself. Yeah.
That's very beautiful. And what's your life's philosophy, and does it maybe even come out in your artistry?
I think it comes out quite a lot. My life's philosophy is I am that I am, and so when I recite poetry, it's always about different subject matters, and I bring forth myself as I am, and so in that space I could be talking about the most mundane thing, but that is how or who I am. The second poem is called Letter to the First Woman on Earth. As a descendant of Eve, I know the first forbidden fruit feasted on, how sweet it made her tongue feel, taste buds groveling for more, the unbecoming of her being. I want to leave you, but I cannot. Instead, I take a bit more of you each time, and I share you. See, I understand because centuries later, I am the Eve and you, my darling lover, my dear, darling forbidden fruit, you are my sin. How can a love so good not be allowed, dear Eve? I now understand why you just had to eat that darn fruit. Lust has such resilience, snake. Things have changed, Eve. The snake that was in your garden, it lives in me these days. It coils itself around my heart, embracing the parts that tell right from wrong, dear Eve. I know how it convinced you to taste, yet out of your own will, you kept eating. For one bite is never enough, and stolen sin is still so sweet, and I give it all up, and I keep eating, and eating, and eating, because maybe, as much of a sin he is, I can't help but love him. There has always been a choice, but just like the Eve I want the things I cannot have. My dear lover, I would have never imagined that you would be my sin, and I would start feeling less guilty each time I tasted your lips. Scary how safe you feel. when you are the death of me, dear Eve.
This is Get to Know Your Artist, an initiative by AHADI.
My name is Rumbi. I will be playing guitar, but I would like you guys to help me welcome my beautiful, my amazing vocalist, Prudence.
And it's not me who we seem to say no faith in God, but I hope she prays, 'cause she's heavenly, my angel's heaven free. And I call her up for tea, says she only wants coffee, and then she smiles at me, makes it all clear. And when she smiles at me, sets my soul free. And then she smiles at me, and I know I'm yours and you are mine.
Very beautiful. Okay, so my first question to you is going to be, what does the M in Rumbi stand for?
The M in Rumbi stands for magnet. It's my first name, Michael. So Michael Rumbi.
Okay, hi Michael Rumbi.
Hi.
I'm very glad to have you on the seat. Okay, so when and how did your artistic and creative journey start?
I think it properly started in around 2015-14. But I did play guitar and piano a bit growing up. But I think it started when I started a YouTube channel. With a few other musicians, and we're like, we're gonna record covers, we're gonna put it up, and then it became live shows, and then boom, South Africa, and we're here.
And what has been your biggest achievement or accomplishment so far?
Biggest achievement is definitely the Standard Bank Ovation Award we got in the National Arts Festival.
Oh yes, you guys went to the National Arts Festival.
Mad. Yeah, so that's like the biggest thing, because it's I guess it's recognized on both the national and international level. But other things is just I've met like a lot of amazing people on the way, and I think for me that is just beautiful.
What's the beauty of being an underground artist?
I think it gives you a lot more time to experiment. Like I really feel like I've played around with sounds and ideas, and now I'm still doing that, but I have a more centered, more I guess methodical approach to it. So I really feel like it lets you find your sound.
And you have so much content, like you have a really recognizable choreography, right? Do you intend on going mainstream? Like is that where you see yourself as Rumbi? Or do you like the space here? Do you like local artistry, working with local artists, collaboration? Where do you see yourself as Rumbi?
I think the first thing is that Rumbi is a songwriter, so I really just enjoy writing songs, and I don't think I will be able to ever have enough vocalists to put out enough music. Like, give me 10 songs to write in like 2 weeks so I can go at it, because I really enjoy it. So the biggest thing for me is songwriting, and I'd love to write on both an international level and a local level, because I want to help people grow. But I mean, there's people I see and I'm like, I would love to write a song for you, I'd love to make an instrumental for you. And I also don't believe in, this is tricky, if you're a musician, take this, like, I don't believe in genres when you're producing. I believe in genres when you're marketing. You know what I mean? Like, make the music and then decide what you're packaging it as. You know what I mean? Because you might put yourself in a box creatively where you're like, okay, this sounds nice, but I'm not going for maybe Afro-pop. And I used to do that and that's the playlist that playing, inspired me. I was like, oh, you can do this, There's nothing like really breaking the rules. So, yeah, just like go for it, I guess.
You are a producer, right? And you work with people a lot. Like, what's your take-home message for people that work with a lot of people and then intend on collaborating with more artists?
I'm such a people's person, so this advice, take it. I would think patience is the biggest thing. I would also say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Like, connect with people. Like, if you're a producer here, there are a lot of people you can work with, and I'm constantly meeting new vocalists. Like, I actively do it. Like, I'll DM people. Sometimes I get 0 answers, but I mean, recently there's a lady from Australia who I'm trying to work with for a track. A lady in the UK, like Ghana. Like, I can see the connections coming through. So you need to be as a creative in general, you need to be proactive. Like you need to do, it's work. I mean, you love it, it makes you feel good, but if you want that guap, put in the work.
And what can we expect from Rumbi in the future?
Oh, if you're a fan, you're about to eat, because I'm lying and things up. I actually have a song dropping next week on Friday, so Let Go, that's the 26th of Friday. The song we performed with Prudence is coming out in 3 weeks time, so that's September 16th. And I have like a lot more songs on the way, so musically, definitely a lot of music on the way. Outside of Rumbi, AHADI, we have a lot of things going. This is, I mean, you know, every Sunday, we're letting you get to know artists. So, I mean, I stay busy. If you, so, yeah.
That's amazing. And how can people get a hold of you?
On Instagram, it's at m.rumbi. On all streaming platforms, it's m.space and Rumbi. Yeah, and if you put it in the, you probably, I haven't found another Rumbi yet. When they come, I'll tell you.
This little light of mine, lost all its shine. This little light of mine, lost all its shine. This little light of mine will shine one last time. This little light of mine, this little light of mine. Oh, this is just a dirty love song. Oh, make your pussy wet but my heart gone. Oh, this is just a dirty love song. Oh, make your pussy wet but my heart gone. I find myself drifting slowly, still and lonely. I'm just trying to find what's not inside. I know I need to find it, just me and time. Oh. Just sway and let it play. Just sway and let it play. 'Cause if it ain't new, shouldn't stop the groove. 'Cause if it ain't new, shouldn't stop the groove. Yeah. Just sway and let it play.
This is Get to Know Your Artist, an initiative by AHADI.